Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. This is Adam.
I'm Adam. If y'all don't know, I'm the premium listener. He announced that several weeks ago.
Well, we will still refer to him as premium listener at
It's
certain
the worst
points.
kept secret in Bowie County
Yeah, and the world.
in the world.
There we go. Before we jump in, I'd like to thank my sponsors. It's Mortgage Financial here in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods. Yeah, they created the sign. And Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org. You don't have to say it since Steve's not here.
Steve would say, "We will."
See, it's hard to say. Everybody makes fun of me for messing it up.
Everybody has their own cadence.
Yeah, and it's definitely in uh, Steve's
It's
cadence.
almost like he wakes up and says it 10 times every
Just
morning or
getting
something.
ready. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll pray like hell for you, or whatever he says.
We'll love the hell out of you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You gotta, you kind of get it that Steve Oglesby throws
Yeah,
down.
yeah, that's right. Well, so we came in last night. Um, we did the Charlie Kirk, kind of raw feel what we had. Our buddy Malachi came in. Man, he did really well. He brought some substance, and I just want to follow up with. I saw on the internet throughout the day today that now Ben Shapiro was canceling shows.
Really?
But Ben Shapiro has put out his own video, and he said, no, he's not canceling, that we're going to stand up in the face of this, which is what I said we have to do.
Right.
We have to come together. And then Ben Shapiro drops it hard on him. He said, to those who try to intimidate or stop us, I have two words for you. And it was basically F you. No, it was F you. I mean, he actually said it. We're sponsored by a church, so I cuss at times, but I try.
You try to mind the language a little bit.
I try to mind which I try to mind my language in general,
Right.
but I definitely try. But anyway, Ben Shapiro's like, hey, you can get lost with all that. We're not being, and so I think that was what I kind of wanted to get to with some posts that I had was we can't cower in fear
No.
now.
And there, hey, this kind of thing happens. I'm a practicality guy. I don't worry about what it looks like. My wife complains about how I'm never matching when I put my camouflage shorts on and
Right.
whatever color shirt I want to wear and
Yeah.
my Texas flag Crocs.
Right.
I'm going to Walmart.
Yeah. It
They
doesn't
fit
matter.
right in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, anyway, my practical side is I'm watching. I saw the videos and I'm watching him sit in a stool and grab a mic and respond and put the mic back down and do his thing.
Yeah.
Well, if you're sitting still, you're a real good target.
Yeah.
So from now on, if you're doing that kind of thing anywhere, then maybe be like a lot of pastors I know and
Walking back and forth.
don't even use the pulpit, but you're all over the stage. And
Right.
don't stand and don't like Trump, keep that head moving.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real deal.
So hindsight's 2020.
Now, yeah, that's exciting. Now, when we left here, I got a call I got a call actually while we were recording yesterday. And I called this person back, and they're an avid listener to the show. And actually, this person's wife listens. I mean, and I mean, everybody listens. And this person's like, hey, this is going to go down as the assassination of modern day Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
And and I heard some people start to say that today, but this person said it yesterday or Wednesday, for whenever you listen to this, Wednesday the 10th. That evening, they're like, "Hey, this is going to be modern," and I think there's going to be galvanization around that.
Yeah. It's certainly going to have a huge effect. One of you said it last night that the response is going to go one way or the other.
Mhm.
We're either going to shut up or we're going to start fighting even more. I mean, fighting. I mean,
Be more vocal.
the right will go on the offensive more,
Yeah,
making. I love to talk logical arguments. I cannot just scream something from an emotional standpoint. It
right.
has to have logic behind it or degree in mathematics.
Yeah,
I went to my college, my primary math instructor in college, and I said, Doc, I said, I have a problem. What is it? He said, I said, I have a degree in math and I don't know what I can do with it. And he says, well, he said some other things, but he eventually said, well, you've learned logic. You've
right.
learned how to solve problems.
This equals this.
So again, I'm a practical guy. I solve problems.
Yeah,
I feel like if we can get some folks, I feel like there's a lot of folks out there that want to speak out,
Yes.
but they probably feel a little less educated and kind of like me when I started into this, I didn't want to put my foot into my mouth about something I didn't know everything about. I've done it a lot.
Right. Oh, we all have.
I feel like there's a lot of folks that probably very quick-witted, just like Charlie was.
Right.
Um, Very smart.
Yeah.
They just don't know the details,
That's right.
and that can come in time.
Well, and did you see the video today? And maybe it was sent to me. I don't know where I saw it, but it's a student at University of North Texas, and she gets to class and she hears some people in her class talking. She says over 100 people in the class talking about it and how happy they were that he was dead
Mm,
and all the things. And finally, she's like, "I've had enough." She's like, she's like, I was afraid to talk
right.
because true liberalism is freedom of thought, right? And so liberal arts colleges have lost that
Well,
on a whole.
this is a great example. They call it our democracy. And if it was a if we lived in a true democracy, then whatever that bill that the Congress just passed, you would have had a vote on it, right?
That's right.
In that classroom, they're a democracy. And if
Yeah,
you're the only one that's speaking against it, what are they going to do with you?
they're gonna shout you down.
Or worse.
Or worse, or heaven forbid, right?
Right.
But and we're not a democracy. Number one, as a country, if
Mm,
we were a democracy, all these people that get so irate over stuff, the majority doesn't believe like that, and we tell them to shut up, and go
right.
away. I mean, the reason they have a voice is because we are a democratically elected constitutional republic.
You are represented. And man, you're represented at every level of government. We'll get to some of that in a minute.
Oh, absolutely. And even school board stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you're represented all the way up because if you weren't and we were a democracy, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. But as Marx said, democracy is a stepping stone to totalitarianism. Did he say totalitarianism or did he say communism? One, one six one way,
It's hard for me
five
to
and a half
memorize
the other.
quotes like that, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
But now let me tell you one thing we haven't seen. And I've seen even people I know have made posts on Facebook talking about, oh, this he had this coming. I mean, and only a couple, right? Or justifying it. Look, I've never called for the murder or celebrated. Well, yeah, I've never called for the murder of somebody saying something I don't like.
Right.
Now, a lot of times I don't engage online because I'm like, you know what? They're just crazy. Nobody's really listening. Maybe it's too many people have been listening to the media call us hateful and Hitler and all the things like we got into last night. Go ahead,
I,
point back
I
to the point.
I saw a meme. Somebody took a Charlie quote, and he said something about assassination theory or something like that is becoming too much of a reality in today's society.
Right,
And who knows when he said that, but um, yeah,
right. But I mean, here we are.
maybe he's the one that made the suggestion, and somebody went too far. Look, murder, murder is wrong.
Yeah,
Murder is against.
we had a whole sermon on that at my church on last Sunday.
I wasn't there. And I didn't actually watch it online either. My wife, real quick, while we're talking about the Ten Commandments,
Yeah.
"Thou shalt not murder." We have a mutual friend that's a teacher, and she got to stand by and listen to him and another teacher
Uh,
who's more of a liberal guy. That they were arguing about the Ten Commandments in the classroom,
right.
which is something else you should talk to.
Yeah.
Um, Anyways, and our friend was making a case. Well, it's possible somebody looks at those Ten Commandments and clues in, maybe I shouldn't do those things.
Right.
The other guy just doesn't want to see the list of things, so
Right.
he doesn't want to be influenced.
But I have a differing of view from a lot of the people that we go to. I like the Ten Commandments in the classroom. I don't like them being forced to be there.
Well, I will say this: I when it all came out, I was with you there, but I look back on it and I say, you know what? First of all, I didn't have to vote. It's not a democracy. I didn't vote on that.
Right.
My representative, I don't even know how he voted on that.
I
Um,
think he supported it.
he probably did. That's conservative.
Right.
Um, the thing is, the Ten Commandments show up in so many different religions,
Oh,
in one
for
form or
sure.
another.
That's right.
So, could we just put the list up there and just knock off the
Yeah.
the title?
Yeah. And
It's not like God put the image of the Ten Commandments in the Bible.
Right, and I doubt they look like what the image that
It
we
doesn't
have looks
say,
like.
"You shall follow these 10 commandments." It says,
Here, yeah. No, that's absolutely right. But but here's one thing I've noticed, and I think a few listeners have noticed because they've texted me today.
texting you right now.
Yeah, texted me right now. Um, Look at the difference in this, and everybody says the George Floyd thing, right? But George Floyd, let's remember, he was not murdered.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there that people don't want to admit.
Right. He died of a drug overdose. So says his autopsy.
Right.
So let's get there. Or even the hands up, don't shoot guy, which he never said that, and he had just robbed a store. And so let's take those two instances. There were cities, multiple cities, burned to the ground over that. There were riots. There were also a lot of paid protesters.
Hmm.
How have people responded today to Charlie Kirk? Well, the media, they've had to cover it. I mean, because there's
Right.
been such concern. But people that followed and believed like him, we've had prayer vigils and prayer chains, and and we've gone to work and we've handled our business, but we've said, hey, we're going to be more resolved in not being silenced. Because in America, for how long now have we heard about the silent majority? And we've been okay with being the silent majority. And since you're going to get to this here in a little bit, I'll go ahead and throw this in there and prime the pot. Christians, when people talk about how violent Christians are, where does the other side get that?
When Christians talk about how
Well,
violent, say
when
it
other
again.
people say, "Well, Christians are so violent," what's the one historical example they'll give you? The major one,
I'm not
and
tracking.
you might completely miss the boat here if you do
I'm
that.
not tracking. So go ahead.
Okay, they're going to tell you the Crusades.
Okay.
They're going to
That goes
say,
way back. I'm trying
yeah.
to think in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
15, 20
They're gonna
years.
say, "Well, what about the Crusades?" Well, let's talk about the Crusades. What were the Crusades? They were an answer to 400 years of Muslim aggression. They came through the Holy Land, took over Jerusalem, made it all,
Literally.
yeah, literally, all the way through into Europe, through Spain, into France, and the kings of the time were like, "Hey, we're going to lose Christianity because of the silent majority." So what they do? They funded wars and created the Crusades. Now it took 400 years for them to finally stand up and say, "Okay, we've had enough." So I get back to the silent majority in America, and that's what it's always been called. Oh, we just have to hope the silent majority. We cannot be silent anymore. I don't believe we have 400 years. I believe, look, I had a dream. I'll go ahead and tell you some of my faith principle here. I had a dream 2010 or 2011 that the rapture was coming at some point. Now, also in the dream, it was said it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, or it could happen a thousand years from now.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you that I know, but I know one thing: we're 2,000 years closer than we were.
That's exactly right. That's
And
exactly
so
right.
I'm not going to act like I have some inside knowledge that nobody has. But at some point, the rapture will happen. That being said, I don't think we have 400 years because our country won't make it. So it was where I was trying to get on that.
Put some perspective on that though.
Okay, go ahead.
What if we just think it's bad? What
There
if
you
it's
go.
gotta get a lot worse? I saw something I read. You gotta know what I do for a living that I read through so much material.
Hey, let me
But
say one thing. Emily, I know you listen to this show all the time, and you're calling me right now, and that's the reason I didn't answer. So when you hear this out in North Carolina, you'll know why I didn't answer this.
not to call any names though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, where was I at? What was I saying?
I'm sorry.
Um, I have seen some words used that just make it clear to me that it's possible that there is no saving
Right.
society anymore,
Mhm.
that it's got to go downhill. And, by my survey of Revelation, that's what's got to happen.
You don't have to survey Revelation. If you take George Washington held that we were in a covenant with God in this nation. The only other nation to have ever been in covenant with God is Israel. Now, what did God do? in Old Testament, and now I'm no preacher, but and I'm no biblical expert. But what did God do with the nation in the Old Testament He was in covenant relationship with? Babylon? Ring any bells? How many times were they exiled?
Exactly.
Egypt? Now, there was always a faithful remnant, which was around an estimated 2% of the population, was allowed to stay in the country and pray for the country. So we have to pray with everything that we
Right.
don't, because Jesus has come. Hopefully, there's more grace. But God, the Bible's very clear. God is always the same, has always been the same, and will always be the same.
And let's be clear that America is not related to Israel.
No,
We're not mentioned in the Bible, but we are the people of God because we believe in Jesus Christ
that's
as
right.
our
And
Savior.
and like I said, George Washington held that we were in covenant with God
Right.
as to move Christianity forward.
That's going toward the Ten Commandments thing we were talking about a minute ago.
Yeah,
Um, you want to go there?
you go wherever you want to go.
Well, yeah, I think we just covered it though. Our mutual friend.
Well, and that's right. But where we can get back to was the silent majority through the Charlie Kirk thing,
Yeah,
through all that is we have to speak up.
and that
You can't just be going, oh, if it's God's will, oh, I hope something will happen. Number one, Christians aren't we aren't a passive religion as we've been instructed to be. We're not supposed to be passive. Now,
right,
we're not supposed to go kicking down doors and dragging people into the streets,
right.
but we're not supposed to be passive.
You know, a lot of people say I'm not a minister. I'm not a pastor, so I don't minister. I'm not a minister. Everybody has a ministry of some sort.
That's right.
Where I'm going with that is, if you want to improve, uh, if we want to start speaking out, going back to what I was saying a while ago, but we're not that educated in how things work, the details, and we're afraid we're going to put our foot in our mouth. We have to start associating with people that do know that stuff,
That's exactly
learning from
right.
them. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron.
Right.
We go to church so iron can sharpen iron. We fellowship with each other. Outside of a worship service, we fellowship so that we can sharpen ourselves, disciple ourselves.
Right.
And if we don't
And who do you
start doing
surround
that,
yourself?
exactly,
Yeah.
what one bad apple spoils the bunch. Well, that's because the apples are all individualized and get together every now and then. You've got to.
Well, even
I'm
like
asking your listeners to
yeah,
go find a group to get involved with. If they're on the left, go find a group to get involved with. They may be like the 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 reel I saw on Facebook. Somebody was saying I've been on the left for 7 years, but after today, I realize I have nothing to do with them anymore. That was yesterday.
that's that's exactly right. And
So
I think there are going to be people that wake up to that. And also,
mhm,
I saw. Let's see if I sent this to myself. If I didn't, I meant to. Um, a poll, and maybe it was just on X, where 18 men aged 18 to 29 have made a dramatic shift to the right. Now, why is that? Because they want to be men.
right.
Because they're tired of being, well, once again, the silent majority, right? They're tired of being told, especially if you're a white Christian male, let's just say it, tired of being called a racist, tired of being every movie, you're either gay or an idiot. Right, every commercial, every TV show, the male figure, and that's either gay, an idiot, or a racist,
You can.
or a combination of all of them.
I'm telling everybody they can be that way if they want. Just don't push it on me.
Yeah,
I
if
don't want to be that way.
if you're an adult, if you're a consenting adult, go do what you want to do as long as you don't intrude on my values.
Right.
Now, like I was saying, the reason I said, because I think you have some notes on this, when it came to the 400 years and the Christian Crusades, I'm not calling for us to go crusade everything, but we have to speak for our religion. If Christians would approach their religion with a fervor such as a Muslim does,
Exactly.
this would be a different world.
Well, so you say such as a Muslim does. I have a friend
Uh
that
huh.
probably has never heard of you.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, he I don't know. Anyways, he claims he has Muslim friends that by all means are not violent and do not believe in all the Muslim expansion that's going on.
Got one that is a family friend I have been on trips with, and every time I talk about it on the show, I pray that I'm like, golly, I hope I've said enough to
Right.
make them know that I still love them and want their friendship.
Without offending anybody that's like that that's listening. This goes for me and my Christianity,
Yeah,
my faith. I don't know everything the Bible says.
no,
That's why we study it. We're supposed to read it
every day.
every day, all the time. We're supposed to be in the Word.
And I hadn't read it today.
It,
Well,
it
not
makes me
much.
wonder what that kind of, call it Muslim, I guess, knows about the Quran. You know,
Here's my answer to you on that. When we talk about extremists, golly, I'm really going to dive in here. When we talk about extremist Muslims, I believe the ones that are extremist are the ones that would come over here and adjust to our culture. I believe they have the
the other
extreme of,
direction
I
extreme.
think they're extreme away from what their religion teaches. Because the Quran multiple times says you're allowed to lie and steal and kill to the infidel.
So what you're suggesting is instead of calling it extremist Muslims, we need to start referring to it as violent Muslims. What
I
I'm
would just refer to it as practicing.
Okay. I'm thinking about y- those that actually follow out what the Quran says, because you'll see the videos on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever about these Islamic leaders, the epic city thing, all that in Plano, that's actually spreading all across the state now, the
Mhm.
state of Texas, that is.
I'm
Um,
looking for
you'll
some
see
people.
them calling for their people to go and carry out the order to kill Christians, to kill
That's
non-Muslims.
exactly right.
Well, we're not seeing that.
And look, I'm not suggesting, and I want to be careful with this.
I don't
I'm
want
not.
them to do it.
I'm not saying that the well, man, I was using Charlie Kirk quotes on Monday. I'm not saying that Muslims killed Charlie Kirk. I don't want to get that
No,
confused.
no, we're not.
We've
No.
shifted gears.
Yeah. Well,
In case somebody didn't
we're
follow. Let's see. There is this. I used this on sometime this week, and I'm looking for the actual article. Anyway, go ahead.
so I wanted to make the point that even in the state Republican Executive Committee meeting that happened last weekend, um, it looks to me it looks to me like there's going to be a proposition on the March primary ballot in Texas,
Mhm.
um, asking something about what we should do with Muslim infiltration into America. Not infiltration, they're welcome to come, but the Muslim takeover, because they're coming in and they're installing their own, they're putting together their small little communities or large communities, whatever you want to call it. And the point is, the statement that was made is Islam is not a religion,
It's a
it's a
government.
government. And what do we do in our homeland when another government tries to move in and take over and establish a foothold?
We have to expel them, just like the cartels want to institute their own
Right.
government.
And the question then becomes, well, what do we have to go through to expel them?
Right.
To what extents?
And
That's what I'm afraid of.
well, and let's use the Japanese culture and the Japanese government, at least up until a couple of years ago, and I think it still goes on now. You're not allowed to be a Muslim in Japan.
Right.
You're not allowed to have a Quran in Japan because they said that they are uncontrollable.
Wow. Imagine a government that will actually step out and make a statement like that.
Right.
I mean, that's not, maybe not a threat, but it's a position that says
They
you're not
just they will,
welcome here.
yeah. They're just like, hey, now are they welcome here? You can be here if that's your religion, but if that's your government, because let's look at what happened. You go up to what is it, Minnesota? Where
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah,
Minnesota, eh?
don't you know? Um, and that's where all the Somalis are. So
Mhm,
now we have an Ilhan Omar
mhm.
that is their representative in the U.S. Congress. And what did she say? What within the last couple of years, she doesn't represent the U.S. She represents the interest of Somalia. Well, that goes against your very oath you took
To swear to defend, to
to
protect and
to
defend
protect and
the
defend.
United States Constitution.
And when you say no, my first oath is to Somalia. And look, let's go ahead and get this out there. She is married to her brother in order to have gotten him status here. And then you look at what else is going on in Minnesota. Now they have police officers that aren't citizens, so you don't have to be a citizen, and can be a police officer, and their badges are written in Arabic. So how far does the silent majority put up with all this? Oh, you're just a hateful racist.
I mean, we're afraid of it taking over here in Texas, but it's already
There are more
it's
mosques being built in
instilled there.
Texas than anywhere else in our country.
Well, that's
I
you'll
mean,
learn in your calculus from high school or college calculus class, you learn about acceleration.
yeah,
So
it
right
has
now
to.
we're building more. That's acceleration.
Yeah,
They've already done it. They're not accelerating. They're just running along. They're pretty good.
right. No,
So
that's
that's
exactly
going to
right.
be an interesting
Let me look up
situation
something while
moving
you're.
forward into the future. How Americans deal with Islamic takeover in those cities. Um,
Yeah, that's
I would hope they're not taking over like that out in the rural areas.
well. I mean, we are considered a rural area,
We are, yeah.
and there's a mosque a mile from where we sit.
Well,
A
where we sit is not as rural as where I live.
well,
That's what I'm getting at.
yeah,
We're in a
but
populated area.
but our county is considered rural.
Yeah.
I mean, there's less than 100,000 people right here.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying in the populated areas, I don't know how that takeover up there in that state you named is working out into the more
Yeah,
unpopulated
and I get
areas.
that, but what I'm saying, your definition of rural is because you live in the sticks, whereas our country's definition of rural, we're all hicks right
I
here.
mean,
You're just more hick than I
I had to crank the chainsaw up just to get out the driveway a while
am.
ago.
Yeah, 242 moss currently in Texas as of May.
Hmm.
So that's okay, and look, you can if it's your religion, go practice that. However, we need to be aware of what that religion teaches. Just like, it I'm not a Baptist, but anytime I hear Christianity, there was actually somebody made a comment on one of my um I don't know if it was on Facebook or on YouTube or something talking about well
Social media.
yeah, the Westboro Baptist Church is also Christians. Okay, yeah, and they're nuts, right? So we understand that, and so there's some of that too, and that's what you were getting at earlier.
Yeah, it just comes back to in the United States of America, we have the United States Constitution. In the state of Texas, we have the Texas Constitution. We have government formed to accept all religions and all types of people. We agree, there's that phrase, social contract that comes up, but we
Right,
all agree by being born here, I guess you could say, to follow this government. And if we don't like it, then we band together and we try to change the government. The problem
right.
is we've got a group that could that is taught to become violent to
Once
try
they
to
have
change things.
that, well, and that's right. Well, and look at when people are like, oh, we just want to immigrate and be able to celebrate our religion. How many countries are Muslim countries across the world anyway? Go be there.
Ask about UK right now.
And yeah, look at and now the silent majority gave up, wouldn't speak up about things that were in their interest so long that they're getting arrested for posts that are made in America on Facebook when they get back, or for hanging a flag up. Or did you see where um even the EU they tried to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk today, and they got booed down in the EU? Or did you see our own Congress when they tried to have a moment of silence and the lefties went nuts? But Laura Loomer was it that was like, "Hey, shut up over there," or whatever. I mean, one of our ladies. Once again, we've got yeah, some awesome female representatives on
Yeah.
the Republican side, and we've also got some good looking
Well,
ones.
and it comes down to it comes down to not being afraid to speak out.
That's
So if
right.
you've got to get educated to become that person that can speak out, I'm not good with words. I'm going to sit here and stumble. I'm going.
I do
I'm
too.
going
I
to
just
have.
muscle through it.
Um, there was you were trying to come out with something a while ago, and I couldn't put the word with it. That's my point. I'm not the guy that's going to replace Charlie Kirk. There's
Right.
probably there's probably 15 or 20 within a 2 mile radius of us right here that are just like that, but they
Yeah.
don't know the content, but they are developing a passion about it now.
Well, just even like on the episode that we filmed Wednesday night, Malachi came in here and asked to come, right? I was like, hey, well, it was me and him were texting back and forth in a group text, and he's like, man, I could really talk about this right now. I'm like, you want to go to the studio and we can hammer this out right now? He's like, yeah. What's he show up with? Bob.
Yeah.
And and then starts putting it together and is,
Right.
and he never makes political posts, but all of a sudden this is a guy that knew it, and I've even had people text me today like, man, he was well spoken on that interview. Absolutely. So we need more engagement from that. And like I said last night, I understand you've got bills to pay, and
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to make my boss mad, and I don't want to get fired for what I believe. And you know what? If you get fired for what you believe, it isn't where you need to be anyway.
Exactly. So God can start changing things in your life, and who knows, you may wind up as a state representative next month.
Right.
Maybe not that quick,
Yeah, maybe
but
not that quick.
hey, that kind of thing, if we really want to fix, and this goes right into the other stuff I wanted to
Yeah,
talk
let's
about,
get there.
if we really want to fix our local governments, we have to get involved. We have to learn how it works. We all complain about how high property taxes are here. We complain about where does that money go to? We don't even know. I guarantee you, there's money hidden in budgets somewhere that we don't know what that goes to. Um, and not just that, it's unnecessary.
I remember one time, and I don't. This doesn't have anything to do with our county government or anything. I was asked to look at a P&L for analysis for a company, and they they felt that there was missing money,
That's a profits and loss
profits and
statements.
loss statement. Yeah, and
There are
so
people like me listening that have no idea.
and and I was asked to look at a P&L for a company, and they're like, "We're missing money. We don't know where." And just and I was working in DFW managing big box retail, and on my lunch break, I was able to call and talk to um, someone in authority there that worked for the owner. And went through an hour of them just talking to me, and I was able to call the owner and I said, "Hey, you're missing between 100 and $150,000. Get me a P&L and we'll see." And then when I saw that, and this is what you were getting to, when I saw that it would have, something something titled weird, miscellaneous 2,500 bucks. I'm like, oh, you can't
Yeah,
miscellaneous
miscellaneous
twenty
will get
five
you in
hundred
trouble.
dollars and or this and this. And so I'm sure in government, federal, state, local, wherever there's, and I'm not saying it's $2,500, but there are things there that if we could unpack it, it'd be a whole different
That's
story.
exactly right. I can, the office I used to work in before COVID started, um, we had a paper line in a
Uh huh.
budget, and when that line went dry, you didn't print anything the rest of the year.
Right.
So I can imagine there may be that paper line, but there's probably other lines that are just for this idea
Right.
and what it takes to get to that idea. I don't know, just throw it in there.
Right. Now
But
let's get to something you sent me. Let me get it pulled up here. Um, Talking about local things, and it's let me say this because I made a post telling teachers I didn't want to hear about how hard the first 2 weeks of school was, and then I prayed for them, and all of a sudden I was called by every name under the sun
you're
because
just bad.
it just wasn't funny, Zach Ratliff, and then I even saw on a post where like they're like, oh, anyway, I don't even want to give that credit, but look, I appreciate teachers,
Yeah.
and I believe good teachers should be paid more. Also, you've got a good schedule.
Right.
Like,
Well, I don't know. They used to have a good schedule. How many months did they have off this summer? It's like 6 weeks.
yeah, right. But still, 6 weeks more than I had. But however, that's okay. But I want to say this because you sent me this thing on payrolls, right? Or was it no, it was highest paid superintendents.
Yeah, and this came from another friend of mine, but she got me triggered on it, so I
And
thought I'd
so
share it with you.
yeah, so let's roll on it.
So we complain about property taxes. We complain about everything, state taxes. We
Mhm.
just complain about how much we're taxed. But the question is, what are you willing to give up so that that tax can decrease over time?
Right. And here's my deal. On the school district side, let's pay teachers more. Let's give them the tools they need. But I don't think we need so much administration.
That's right. That's right. Teacher, when I taught for 3 years, and when I was a teacher, there were certain things that I couldn't have the administration do. I had to do it myself.
Right.
And honestly, I think they still have to do that themselves. So I'm looking around going, what do I can get myself in trouble here because I know a lot of administrators,
Right.
but I look around and I wonder if, maybe that position in that school district is not necessary.
Well, and look, and let's and I'm going to derail this a little bit, but it's my show, so I guess I can. Here's my issue, you know? Yeah. Here's my issue a lot of times. Between the school districts here, well, between the school districts here locally and the colleges that we have around here, there's $200 million worth of budgets. Okay? $200 million is spent in this local area on between kindergarten and college education. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Okay. Now, is some of that needed? Yes. But my issue is, we can now have daycare centers at schools starting that they will get your kid up to 4 years old and they will feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Plus, and when I say dinner, I mean after school snack. Plus, they'll keep them till 7.
Hmm.
And that goes all the way through high school.
Right.
You can leave your kid go ahead.
And that's not just for teachers.
No,
That's
I'm
for
talking about
students
for
also.
students. Now, do I want kids to starve? No, I think all school lunches should be free. That's not what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and get that out of there. On that note, if your kid gets a free lunch and you qualify for it, and you also get the EBT card and all that, and your kid comes to school hungry, your ass should go to
That's
jail.
right. You need to be held responsible for
so,
you've
so,
already been
so,
given.
so there's that. Let's put them in jail. However, so we're spending $100 million just on the K through 12. We're indoctrinating them into a system of servitude, and that's all kids. Just like my daughter the other day came in. And my daughter goes to the number 2 elementary school in the state of Texas. I love her school. I like what they're doing. But she comes in, she's like, Dad, we had to watch a video on global warming.
Did they talk about cow farts?
She didn't say that.
I don't feel like you've covered anything until the teacher says the words cow
Cow
farts.
farts, yeah. I mean, and that's real.
My daughter brought home a piece of paper last year when she was in 4th grade last year. And the question was, which of the following is a cause of climate change?
Yeah, we did that same high school
Bam,
just the
bam,
other
bam,
day.
bam. Number 4 is cow farts. Which one was the correct answer? Cow farts.
Right, because they want to kill the American farmer and one of our listeners is has a beef farming family.
They
Like
know all about.
I mean, but that's exactly right. But anyway, so we go back to your question: what part of local government are you willing to give up? Because even on the federal here locally, we have the Army depot.
That's right.
Well, so we were big on Doge, and we're going to cut this, and everybody wanted all the cuts everywhere else until it got to here, and all of a sudden you're going to start cutting the base, and then whoa, whoa, whoa. We know somebody that works there. We have somebody that works there. We didn't
work there. I work.
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't work there, but I am a government
Your
employee.
support, yes.
Yeah.
But it's okay in somebody else's town. It's okay to cut in somebody else's county. It's okay to cut in somebody else's state. We didn't want that here. Well, there are 500 and how many representatives and senators? 568? 535. 535 elected representatives and senators that they all have to hear about it too. Those cuts also aren't wanted in theirs. So, back to your point, what part of government are we going to cut? Okay, you want to do without property taxes? What are you going to lose?
When it boils down to it, we really do live in a very socialist society.
Oh,
we
we
band
are
together,
very
throw our tax
socialist.
dollars together into big humps, and we give those people over there the responsibility of delegating that money to whatever services that we require. We have no idea what our military is doing around the world under cover of darkness or whatever you want to call that right now. We have no idea what our local sheriff's department is investigating out there right now.
Right. Well, and so which made me think of this. As if you're watching, you can see me searching on my phone. And I just put in Davy Crockett response to being asked for money because of a fire. And so here's what Grok gives back. Davy Crockett, the famous frontiersman and U.S. congressman from Tennessee, is known for a legendary anecdote where he was confronted by a constituent about his vote to appropriate public funds for a victim of a fire in Georgetown, a suburb of Washington, D.C., in the early 1820s. Now, let's think about appropriating government funds for natural disasters, right? FEMA, every earthquake, even what came through North Carolina,
Mhm.
the hurricanes, right? Or when we look at California with those fires and everything they go through. So it says, this story is often titled Not Yours to Give, illustrates Crockett's evolving views on the limits of government spending, right? So um, here it is, the Crockett's. Well, let me just read some more of this. It says, the constituents' challenge. While campaigning for re-election, Crockett visited a farm named to this guy, and he refused to support Crockett's re-election bid, citing the fire relief bill as unconstitutional, saying, "Hey, you took my money and you gave it to someone else, and the government has no right." Am I bumping it?
I don't know about well, I can't see it that
Yeah.
well, but I can see it getting over there.
And the government has no right to take your money and give it to someone else. However, back to your point of socialism, they take our money and they give it to people for housing, they give it to people for food, they give it to people for disaster relief. And some of that is needed. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when you're
Well,
taking 60 to 70 cents out of every dollar I make, when is it okay? Because we say government's for infrastructure, dams, roads, water supply, helping start the electrical grid, not maintaining it because that's what your electric bill is supposed to do. And then military. Okay, I want to be the biggest, baddest in the world. And then that way, nobody ever goes up to the biggest, baddest guy who also knows judo and just starts a bar fight.
hey, I'm in that business. I want to say this. What I see on a daily basis is the United States funds development of products and then we sell them. Not we, the contractor that does the actual development. The United States will fund it and the contractor gets to sell that to other countries.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to
How
fund their development.
you're talking about your Boeing, you're talking about,
Lockheed.
your Lockheed, you're talking about your well, even there I don't want to say it because they're local and I try not to go against local people. There are companies in within 60 miles of here that make stuff that then sell those, they're funded, they have large government contracts that pay for the main part of their operation and then take other parts of their operation and use the same factory for foreign
Mhm.
governments. And that is just what it is. Here was Davy Crockett's response to this guy. We the so let me just read this. Mr. Bunce, you have told me a great deal that I did not know before. The power of collecting and distributing money at pleasure is the most dangerous power that can be trusted to a man. So Davy Crockett, hero of the Alamo, right? I mean, he's close to Daniel Boone, could take a switch and whip a bear. He said that's the most dangerous power that could be trusted to a man. You see that while you are contributing to relieve one, you are drawing it from thousands who are even worse off than he. If you give money to one, you must give it to all. I will tell you what I intend to do from this day forward. I will never vote for an appropriation bill that is not clearly authorized by the Constitution, which is what the John Birch Society calls. We'll get back to constitutionalism. That's exactly where we should be. And so it says this experience directly influenced Crockett's later action in a subsequent congressional debate on a bill to give $20,000 to the widow of a deceased naval officer. Crockett delivered this famous speech, and then I'll kind of let us get back there. We have the right as individuals to give away as much as our own money as we please in charity. But as members of Congress, we have no right to appropriate a dollar, not even a dollar, I'm adding that, but a dollar of the public money. I will not vote for this bill, but I will give 1 week's pay to the object. And if every member of Congress will do the same, it will be more than we ask. And that's the deal with Congress. They're quick to give away Adam's dollar. They're quick to give away Zach's dollar. They're quick to give away listeners' dollar. But what about their own money? They're sitting there drifting off of us. Look at the payments that came back to our elected officials through just Ukraine alone. Look at how much money Joe Biden and Lindsey Graham and Mitt Romney and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Look at all the money, and then they're getting paid, and we're not even allowed to trade stocks like they are, and then they get rich off that. But we have to worry about cutting our government. Go ahead.
Let's bring this back to a local position.
Okay.
Folks, we're better represented from a local standpoint than we are from the federal standpoint.
Absolutely, because you can go knock on their door.
You can go
I'm not
knock on your
suggesting
neighbor's
that you
door
do
and
that.
talk to him about why he voted on so and so in your city council meeting last night. Um, I'm not going to call names, but I'm gonna show you some or give you some salaries here
Good
from.
show.
We don't want to.
Okay.
Salaries from superintendents across looks like North Texas. We'll stay not so local, but this is local to somebody. I do have others for. Let's do this. East Texas,
Okay.
without calling names or locations. Superintendent makes $343,000, $285,000, $282,000, $275,000. The lowest in this list appears to be $238,000. That's top 10 for East Texas. Okay. Um, what's the deal about? Well, let me just say this. First of all, I want to compare that to the salary of the governor of the state of Texas, who can influence how much money is spent on a budget for education. He makes just short of $154,000 any given year. So we're paying superintendents in East Texas, and if I go back to this other page, in North Texas, $457,000 for a year of work. I think that's a little bit much.
Now,
The eminent domain thing.
uh-huh.
What's the change we're trying to change the verbiage on that to public need?
Yes.
Do I need to pay that superintendent $457,000?
So I've got within myself, I've got conflicting views on this.
Okay.
I
Wait. Are you looking to become a superintendent?
no. Yeah, I mean maybe now. Um
A change of
so
gears about to
I've
happen.
got I've got conflicting views inside myself on this. So number 1, with things as they are, okay? So this is how I'm going to get to this first view. The largest school district in our area has between a 67 and a 72 million dollar budget a
Okay.
year annually. 75% of that comes from property taxes.
Right.
Now, that district has over 1,200 employees. So let's do this. And we're just gonna have to fill a little time while I do this math. If we do 70 million, and if you're watching, you can see that I'm doing this, divided by 1,200, that's just on employees. That's $58,333.33 an employee. Now, we know that they don't make that
Right.
because you've got janitors, and we know that not every teacher is making $58,000, even if they should.
Some
But
are
we've
only
got,
making 56, right?
well, some are making 34, whatever the
Right.
minimum is. Um, but then you've got your facilities. Anyway, you've got a $70 million a year budget. If that's the case, and I've got $70 million of our tax dollars want there, it's worth three or $400,000 to me in order to have the most qualified person to run that organization. So for me, the question is, do we need such a large organization? And do we need all of the things that are offered?
Uh,
Because if we're taking
Yeah.
$70 million, I want somebody that knows how to do it to do it.
I was listening to you and somebody else talk the other day about the different things, about the different programs within probably the school you're talking about. And I think about my local school,
Mhm.
and they don't offer all those programs.
Right.
We're a much smaller community. We
Right.
don't have the tax base to fund those programs
Right.
with. Um, on the other hand, I taught school for 3 years. I saw real in the high school.
Right.
I saw real quick when a lot of kids coming out of 8th grade, they've got what it takes
Now,
to succeed in life.
now there's the answer.
So if a kid is not shooting for college personally, and their
Right.
parents are not supporting them in their academic endeavors, that kid probably needs to be looking for at least a part-time job.
You can go be a barber. You can go drive a track
Oh,
hoe.
man.
I mean, I mean, there's people that are knocking down $100 a yard mowing yards. You can knock out 10 a day. That's $5,000 a week. I
Yeah,
mean, there, there's money to be made. So what we've done is we've substituted physical work ethic, and we've tried to say that education is worth more than that. Now, while you need work ethic to succeed in education, to be educated, to do good in your studies, to make sure you're informed, all these things, physical work ethic
it's
has,
healthy to start with,
oh, for sure.
but it
But it's
it's
been lost.
yeah,
But back to what you were saying, what are we willing to cut? Are you willing to take less streets? They're working on the streets in my neighborhood right now. They were bad.
mm,
But one of the neighbors sent a message like, how long is this going? How bad was the street? Now, I don't know. Will it be nicer to drive on? Yes. Do we have nice houses? Yes. But I mean, we've got a crew out there for all week that's taking care of it. Was it to the point that it needed to happen what's happening? I don't know. Maybe.
it's like this, as far as roads go, and that's one of the topics I wanted to hit because that's a major expense for commissioners court.
Right.
The county commissioners, they've got 2 jobs. One, manage the money for the county and maintain the roads,
Right.
okay? Culverts and ditches and stuff. I've got some friends that complain about their road. Our road, and they're in a different precinct, so they need to be hollering at their precinct
Yeah.
commissioner, their county commissioner. Um, you have to. What they don't realize is where they're at. 4 people live on that 6 miles of road
Right.
versus your street with
Yeah, there's 60
45
people.
people or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
So there's a usage rate there, and then out there that's gravel road. So every time it rains, the good stuff just washes off
Yeah,
in the
that's
ditch.
right.
And so, anyways, it costs a lot of money. And so this is what I'm coming to. Again, when I pay taxes into this organization that's going to take care of my services of whatever I need.
Well, let's get that part right first. You don't pay taxes in. They steal them from you. They're gonna take them from you whether you wanna pay them or not.
Well, my property taxes are not included in my mortgage. And if I don't go pay my taxes every year,
Well well, that's right. I
so
mean,
anyways,
so property
but
taxes, yeah, if you don't have them escrowed, so
and
you are
and
paying
honestly,
those.
my property value is not that high, so I don't pay a lot in property taxes,
Still paying them.
but I'm still paying them.
But
And
here's
it's
the thing,
money out of my pocket that I wish I had a little bit more control
so
over.
you may be paying them. Let me say this, they're extorted from you
Yeah.
because it might be
If
that
I don't pay them,
if you don't pay them, they're gonna come take your
I
stuff.
won't live there anymore.
That's exactly right. So
So
I misspoke. Well, but you're not willingly paying them. They're extorted from you.
I have to balance when I go and I write that check or I hand them the cash because they don't want to swipe your card. They charge you for the 18% interest. Maybe not that much.
Yeah, whatever,
But
yeah.
anyways, when I pay that, I'm balancing how much I want my county road upkept versus how much I want to stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
And given that I've grown up on that piece of property,
Probably wanna
I'm
stay
gonna
there.
continue investing in that road and that commissioner,
Yeah, that's right.
so, or that precinct, anyways, in the county. But I've bounced this around in my head trying to find a way so that I didn't have to pay the county. It's the people on the road that pay for their road.
Right,
Well, there's roads that go down there and dead end.
right,
And then there's roads like mine that connect 2 state highways.
right,
And you might as well widen that road out and put a stripe down the middle of it because it's a major highway through Malta, Texas.
right.
How do you pay for a road other than everybody pay their fair share into the county? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's exactly right.
But the question remains, do people know where their money's going? And if you're going to complain about how much you're paying, what are you willing to give up? That's an answer I'm not willing to give right now.
Right,
Um, Other than maybe I can deal with that pothole for a few more days,
that's
you know.
right.
In schools, again, salary levels, teachers need to be paid their fair share for doing the real work.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're right. Superintendents have a level of responsibility. Could we change what the organization looks like to maybe instead of one superintendent, split it and have two with different schools or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there's something in there, right? There's a happy number. But I didn't wanna but does every there's a lot of levels between teacher and superintendent that can be looked at.
right.
There's a lot of spending that can be looked at inside of there. And so and that's why, like you said, a local matters. When's the last time whoever's listening, you talked to your school board?
Yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you know who your
yeah.
school board
Do
members
you know
are?
who represents you on the school board?
When does your school board meet?
That's exactly right.
Can
All of
you
these
go to
things.
the meetings to learn
Or,
about it?
or if you're mad about your county party, which Dale Hall's shirt, right? When's the last time you talked to your precinct chairman?
Right.
When's the last time you talked to your county commissioner for the commissioners court, right? I think I saw Tom's truck over there, mine whenever they were starting construction the other day. But he was talking to the guys, and there was no need for me to stop and talk to him because he was doing his job.
Mm.
And so, you know, but who even knows who their county commissioner is?
Right.
I mean, so yes, we can be upset about the federal stuff, but we have to make well. And just as the show was starting, I was texting back and forth with Bob Brugerman. He'll be on the show sometime next week. I've got him scheduled to come in and interview, and he's always fun to interview and talk to. We have to talk to who our mayors are and our city councilmen. I'll have some of those come on.
And the more you get involved at the local levels, there's a tendency that when somebody gets elected to mayor or city council, that they will what you might call promote over years, um, and run for higher and higher offices.
And then you have sway.
And if we can convince them now not to spend our tax dollars freely, maybe when they get to those higher levels where they're working with more tax dollars, they won't be so
Right.
free to throw
And
it
like I
away.
say, then they have sway because they know what's going on. They're in touch with local, and so I think that was where we're trying to get to with all this.
Kind of. There's a lot to it. I want to see more people involved in politics.
Yes.
I want to see them learning, you've used the word inside baseball. Yeah, there's some phrases and language, what's the word?
There's some jargon.
Jargon. There's jargon you need to learn to really be influential with it.
Right.
And so I want to see more people just show up and sit in. I go to commissioners court meeting and I just sit there.
And I was with
And
you
I
on one of them, and I'll be
Yeah,
with you on the next one
well,
probably.
we probably shouldn't sit next to each other next time so that we could actually hear what they're saying.
Yeah, we're talkers. We get in trouble at the Bowie County Patriots for that too.
We're going to carry mics in there and do a podcast,
Yeah,
do a live
that's what
show
we
while
need to
they're
do.
but I sit there and I frown because I know that, for instance, this cybersecurity company that they're fixing to spend $30,000 for a 2-week deal or that's made up.
Yeah,
I
right.
think.
Yeah, I don't know the
But,
numbers.
I don't know anything about it. They don't talk much about the details of what they're voting to spend the money on. But I have to wonder, is that really necessary for our county to continue to function?
Which, I mean, they do have an open comment period. You could stand up and say, "Hey, I got questions on all this. Why are we doing it?
And there were 3 people that did that the other day.
How'd that go?"
They were complaining about their road ditches
Yeah,
and something about a sewer problem. I didn't really catch the sewer problem, and I'm glad they didn't really go into details. It probably wasn't appropriate. It wasn't appropriate for them to come to commissioners court to complain
it
anyways.
should have already been at the county barn.
Oh, no, they said they'd already been there. I just don't think coming to commissioners court was going to get anything done.
No.
So when they got done, that's item number 1, letting them speak.
Yeah,
Item number 2 on the agenda is commissioners' response to concerns.
right.
So their concern was their county commissioners. So when it come to item number 2, the judge says, "All right, in response to that," and that
No,
commissioner just stood there and just sat there and stared at him. And I can't understand it.
didn't even respond.
Didn't try to respond. Just
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe they've got something between them, and that was
Yeah, could have been an
unknown.
old, Hatfields and McCoy situation
But
we don't even know about.
anyway,
We are a rural county.
my point is, talk to your commissioners, talk to your school boards, talk to city councils, and make sure those meetings are happening. Do what you can do, band together all the people you can do to make sure those meetings are at a time where people can be there
Right,
and at least have that presence known so the people that are voting don't think nobody cares. We can just go ahead and do this.
right.
Make sure they see that it's your money they're spending,
Yeah,
and things will start to change.
I think that's right. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. We've got a Bowie County Patriots meeting to go to. Remember, Bowie County Patriots meet every Thursday at 6 p.m. at Big Jake's in Nash.
Nash, Texas, and that's BowieCountyPatriots.org.
Yes, sir. All
Yeah.
right. I hope God blesses each and every one of you. You're going to be seeing this on Friday morning, but we'll be back. We'll do it all again on the next one. Y'all have a good weekend.